Welcome to Family First Community Center in Renton. It's a 21,000 square foot state-of-the-art facility founded by former Seattle Seahawk Doug Baldwin. Through a partnership with the city and the school district, it offers a wide range of recreation and opportunities to foster personal growth, wellness, and community connections. An inclusive space where everyone can feel supported. So the seed was planted 10 years ago. For
somewhere around 10 years ago. I want to say it was like 2013, 2014. Yeah.
Okay, right about the time you were winning a Super Bowl.
We're getting there.
Yeah, okay, that's good. Good memories of the confetti coming down at MetLife.
Yep.
That was a great day.
It was.
We had some fun. But you move on from there, and you're doing something now that you've always wanted to do. Maybe not in this exact form, because you probably didn't know exactly, right?
Right.
10 years ago, what you're looking to do.
Yeah.
So step one for you, as far as Family First, was meeting with Dennis Law, the then mayor of Renton, right?
Yeah. We had this vision for what this could potentially be, and knew that this area was the area that I wanted to be in. But it was important to engage the obviously the local community, but also the city, to make sure that we were in alignment with what they wanted for this community too, so that we could get their support. And ironically, when I was telling Dennis about this idea, he sent me the assessment that Renton had on the Cascade-Benson Hill area, and that was one of their first needs, was that they needed resources for the young kids that lived up here. Yeah. And so we were right in alignment with what the city had envisioned for servicing this area. So it was a serendipitous partnership.
What was step two then? Because at that point, okay, we have a dream. It's the same dream. Where do we go from here?
Yeah, so step two was really looking at, okay, what is this going to look like in actuality for the community? And so we needed to get that community feedback, right? And so that was the next step for us, was, okay, we have this idea. We have the potential area that we're looking at, but let's make sure that the community wants this, and that we're doing it very thoughtfully for the community. And so that was step number two.
When you asked the community what they wanted, what did they want most, though? What did you hear the most from the community?
Yeah, so at the time that the assessment was done, 20% of the population up here was 14 years and younger. So you can imagine that's a lot of kids, right? I think there's 9 schools within a 5-mile radius of this area. And so you got a lot of schools, a lot of families. And so the biggest thing we heard was just they need a space for their children to be able to go during the day, where they're safe and they can be around folks who are looking out for their best interests, and also helping them build up to be great human beings, right? And so this was, community center was that for me as a child. And so that was, the first thought that came to my mind was like, yeah, we're on the right path. If we're building a community center that's being thoughtful about the children, right? And was also kind of like the hook too, because we want the whole family to come in here. So yeah, let's tailor it to the kids, get the kids in here. They'll bring the families, and then let's make sure we're also catering to the families, to the adults as well. And so so far it's working out.
You've got a fully staffed clinic here, physical health, and also some mental health issues as well.
Yeah.
Where did that idea come from? Was that in the beginning? Was that something that came from the community? Did you come up with that? Did the mayor come up with it?
Well, on that assessment, there was several different things, right, as I mentioned, and a health clinic was one of those things. And so when I saw that, then it was like, okay, well, how do we execute this in a way that's actually going to benefit the community? Because it can't just be any health clinic, right? It's got to be a health clinic that is conscious about the community that's up here, right? Knowledgeable about the demographics, the economics, all of those things, and that are able to deploy those services in a way that's actually accessible to the community. And HealthPoint, I got connected with them. Again, this was several years ago, so I don't remember the context of how I got connected with them, but being the great partner that they are, they took this and they ran with it. They really put their heart and soul into what this experience was going to be like for the community, and they did a great job. And so yeah, we have a full staff that's staffing that clinic in there. So there's 5 medical exam rooms, there's 3 dental chairs, and then there's several behavioral health rooms where families, they can come and get the full gamut of services.
So it's kind of like, to me, to use a kind of a weak analogy here, I'm really good at weak analogies. You see a car that you want, You got all the little options. And at some point, you got to pay for it. So now that is facing you.
Yeah.
How do we fund all this? Where do we get the land? What kind of building?
Yeah.
Who's going to... so what was next?
Yeah, so the fortunate thing is that I come from the sports background, team sports background, and I know in order to be successful, it takes a team, right? And everybody's got to play their part, do their role, and everybody's got to make sacrifices too. And you know, Dennis Law he was a great leader for the city of Renton while he was mayor, but he was also a great leader for this project. And the first thing he did was went to the city council and say, hey, we got to put our money where our mouth is, and actually, you know, if we're going to actually service this community, we got to put some money up for it. City council, I think, unanimously approved it, and so that was our first jumping point, right? The city put in some money, and then Dennis has a great connection and relationship with First Financial Bank Foundation, and so we went to them, and they put up some money as well, and so we were off and running, you know, with those two partners that jumped in right away, and so that was the catalyst for us to get other partners involved and on board, and obviously bringing in more dollars as well. So we made it. We, you know, there was a little bit of a gap that we had to fill. Pandemic didn't help with that.
No, true.
Of course not, but we made it, and so we're operating now, and we're servicing the community.
So I just want to go back for a second. You need a piece of land to put a 28,000 square foot building. The piece of land came from?
The school district. School district here is amazing. Dr. Damian Patnode he's the Renton School District Superintendent. He's amazing, and you know, he was on board as well. Obviously, sitting right next door to a school, he saw the potential and the impact that this could have on those kids, and so he did whatever he had to do to make sure that we were in those conversations. And this plot of land became available to us, and it just made the most sense. And now, again, we're right next to a school, and we're able to service these young folks and their families, and then they're telling their older siblings about this place, and so their siblings are coming too. So
that's cool.
It's just it's full circle.
So Family First Foundation is a reality. Here it is. We're sitting in it right now. We're going to see some pictures of it. Does this speak of the birth of this sort of facility all around the state, all around the region, all around the country?
Yeah.
How do you go from this to spreading the word about how this was done?
Yeah, that's my hope. You know, and the more research and diligence that we've done, you know, scouting the nation for various ideas to make sure that we're doing this correctly, you know, I've started to see more folks are actually thinking holistically, similarly to how we've done with this project. And so not only do I think it's, you know, us presenting a model that can be replicated not only in the state but in the country, I think other folks are starting to wake up to the ideas and to the innovation that's now available to us to do things like this. Yeah. And so I do think that this is going to be, I'm hoping that this becomes the norm in a lot of our communities across the country, and especially coming out of the pandemic where we've been so isolated. We need more places and spaces where especially kids, but also families can come, be safe, be seen, be loved and appreciated, and be healthy. And so that's the goal of this space, is to create that model, demonstrate that model, and then yes, if we get to partner with other like-minded organizations and folks and municipalities, then yes, we are absolutely interested in replicating this because the community as a whole benefits from that.
That's the key. And to go back and to wrap this up, first of all, thank you for having us here.
Thank you.
Great visit, the tour. It's just...
My man, Tony V.
Hey, it's DB. I call you DB and you call me TV, and that way we don't really know who we're talking about. Who's DB? Who's TV? But thank you. And the key word is team. You've put together a team, and now down the road through your organization, Vault 89, you hope to put together more teams and get more of this. Yeah.
So just to close this, to wrap this up, yes, this is a state-of-the-art facility. It's a beautiful facility. So grateful for all of the partners who have helped us bring this to life. But these four walls don't mean anything if you don't have the right people inside of it, building that culture for the community, right? And we've been very fortunate, very blessed to find folks who genuinely and authentically care about the culture that we're building and serving the community, and they're in this facility, creating that culture, creating those relationships and those bonds, And those bonds and those relationships are going to supersede anything that we could have imagined, right? The impact that we have here is going to surpass our lifetimes. You know, we've got kids in here who, you know, young men and women who are going to grow up, who are going to be impacted and influenced and directed. Their trajectory of their life is going to be different because of this space and because of the folks that they're interacting with on a day-to-day basis here. Then they're going to go off and they're going to be impactful in the communities that they go to. And it's going to start here. And it's very similar to the community center that I grew up in back in Florida, right? This facility, this vision wouldn't have existed if it wasn't for those folks who created that for me back in Florida.
Good point.
And so we are hoping to replicate that. We can't measure that, right? It's immeasurable to a large degree. So we're not worried about measuring it. We're just going to do the work, and we know the impact will be what it is going to be.
Man, so true. Great to see you again. Thank you.
You too, my man.